So we had to start a bit later because of network that always clashes with load shedding. Um, but otherwise, I'm still having my conversation with Maimela today, and I hope that she can step in, and then we'll get started. But we're still on Suicide Prevention Month, and she has something so great going on. I'm actually, yes, there we are. Okay, great. I don't want to over introduce. I think you'll just what we've been doing together. So I've just invited her, and then I'm just waiting for her to accept my invite, and we'll be all the way in our conversation. Okay, please. I've got my notes the whole time. I'm going to be looking down there. It's because I'm trying to make sure that our conversation goes in the right direction before we lose track. Mpho.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good and you?
I'm good, thank you. I hope our network doesn't turn back on us.
Yeah, hopefully.
But it seems
Because
fine
load
so
shedding
far,
is
ne?
something else. Yeah, so far, so good.
So far, we're good. Okay, great. How's your day been, sis?
My day has been good. I was studying
Okay.
as usual.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't actually have class, you were just studying from home.
Yeah, I can go library now as we speaking.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. All right. Thank you so much for doing this with me. I'm actually really excited because I've been doing good amounts of work with you.
Yeah, I'm nervous.
Yeah, and most of it you're not doing a lot of front work interaction, all of that, rather in the background. So now I wanted you to be in the front, and I'm excited about that. Um, but yeah, please just give us a background, Handle, who is Mpho and what exactly you do.
Okay. Kutsabana. Galal. um, yeah, I'm
How do you just start there? These are the things we tell people later on.
yeah. Okay, anyways, Mpho or Maimela is, yeah, we all know me as that. 22 years of age, and I was born and bred in Tembisa. And I'm currently not working, but studying to be a mechanical engineer in future. And yeah, and I'm also the founder of Community Foundation of Tembisa.
Okay, Community Foundation of Tembisa is really what I want us to like dive into because that's how I met you basically and how I got to be working with you. Um,
Yes.
Tell me about that when you started it and the idea behind it until where it is now.
Okay, the idea behind Community Foundation of Tembisa started when I was doing my pageant year in 2019, running up
Okay.
for Miss Tembisa. So in that sector, we got to go on workshops and also visit homes, orphanage homes. So in that point, I got to see how everything works behind the scenes. I actually loved how everything was working through and how we were involved because I myself am a giving person.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, why should I not start this? So I've been procrastinating since from 2021. And then that's when I started to get the initiative, yeah, let me just start the foundation. And then I got help
Okay.
from one of my colleagues that I'm working with within the foundation. And that's how it all started. Yeah, basically, I'm doing it from my heart. I'm not doing it for any fame or money or whatsoever. I just love giving. If I give someone, I never grew up in poverty, but
Okay.
I'm able to put myself in someone's shoes when they say they are hungry or they're from poverty. It's like I could relate, even though I never grew up in that kind of session. So, yeah,
Okay. When did you start it?
last year, 2021, August.
Okay. So August. Okay. Okay. So it's like a year old now, basically.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. No, great. Um, And then now I like that you mentioned Taba, hore, you generally just like giving as much as even though you're not from the background yeah, bana ba e leng hore you are dealing with in your foundation.
Mm-hmm.
But just coming from a place of being able to give is fulfilling to you. Because what
Yes.
I now want to know is the routine that you have for you that helps with your mental health. Because I feel like we can't give from an empty cup. So
Mm-hmm.
the better we figure out ways to be working on ourselves, the better the chances of us being able to offer to somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
especially somebody who is not in the same situation that we are in, but us being able to switch out around situations and be like, no man, this must be how they're probably feeling about a situation, and I need to be able to offer from my place. So, what is it in terms of a routine that you do for yourself, whether it be a weekly, a daily, a monthly, a yearly routine, but whatever it is that you do that you realize actually works for you and works for your mental health, that you are now able, that makes you able to actually pour out into the next person or into your foundation?
Mm-hmm. First and foremost, I go to therapy sessions. Why do I do
Oh,
that?
great. Okay.
I'm doing that because I realized hore, there's a lot that I still need to learn about myself. I still need to learn about my emotions, how to control them, what to do when this happens and whatsoever. So I
Mm.
normally do that. I don't do that because I'm sad, or even if when I'm happy, I still go to therapy because it gives me that space where I'm able to share with someone else. If it's difficult for me to share with my friends, if I feel like they wouldn't understand what I'm going through, then it's better for me to share it with a stranger. And secondly, my daily routine that keeps me calm at a mental state is by cleaning, honestly. Cleaning,
Really?
clean. When I get to clean, I honestly like my mental health comes down because there are those days where I wake up like I'm mad or if you like outside in the wrong, then I know
Yeah.
what to do already. I need to clean in order for me to get that stress down, distress,
Ah,
and be. So yeah.
okay. Okay, that is wow, that's something else. Okay. I'm actually really happy katabaya therapy. We mentioning hore, you go to therapy even on your good days, even when you're happy. Because I think
Mm,
the misconception around therapy is that you have to be struggling and falling apart and
yes.
almost dying before you can go into therapy. So for someone to
Mhm.
mention or you actually go to therapy even if you don't have like anything really going on, just so you can manage yourself going forward, is actually a really, it's really nice to hear. It's really nice to hear because I think for the most of us it gets us into understanding that it actually can work for each and every one of us. Because
Yes.
sometimes re dula fatshe ka di-issues and then we're like, I'm not far enough or I'm not like falling apart enough for me to actually
Mhm.
go into getting therapy.
Yeah.
So I'd rather sit it out until I'm, I don't know, suicidal, or until
Mm.
I'm having an attack or something, then I can go in, and it doesn't have to end up that way. Okay, so I want to now know that for your environment, right? Because we are speaking about suicide prevention and we're not speaking about just promoting tabahor. We have a problem here, suicide. When it comes to helping the next person, um, what is it that works for you? Because we're trying to implement other people's ways of doing things into our lifestyles, right? So, just your way of simple, how you interact with your friends to make things better for them, how you interact with strangers, whatever it is that you would say works for you that you have seen probably helps the next person.
Yes. Well, okay, I hardly talk to strangers because
Okay.
I'm not a very social person. I'm
Mm,
anti-social, but
okay.
the way I help when it comes to my friends, I make sure that I see them at least once a week. Once a week, that's when we vent out whatever that has been happening within the week. If you're feeling
Mm,
some type of, then we come up with the solutions of whatever. Because most of my friends that I've close myself within a small circle. Like it's more or less we went through the same thing. We've
Okay.
tried therapy, all of us, and then
Mm.
it has come to a point where no man, like, do I really have to go to therapy or I can just also vent out to my friends so that they also understand what I'm going through because they've been there,
Mm.
even though it could be different
Mm.
situations, but they know, okay, if I'm feeling this type of way, then that means one, two, three. Or if he or she is feeling this type of way, then I know it means that. So I make it by all means at least once a week. We don't live far from each other. But if we can't
Mm.
see each other, we make it we have a video call and whatsoever that needs to be done. Yeah.
Okay. Do you find that investing in your friendships is part of why your mental health is actually growing in the right direction? Because a lot of times
Yeah.
we do want to have friends, ne? But we take it so easy, taba ho ba le dichomi, and then we don't actually invest in our friendships. So I don't know if do you find that it actually is beneficial for you?
It is beneficial for me. I always say, once you become my friend, you don't just become my friend for just G. You must have a reason why you are my friend. If you're really a negative
Mm,
person, I'm gonna cut you off completely because I don't see that
okay.
as a thing that I'm gonna invest in or whatsoever. So once you become my friend, it's you automatically become family. And when you are
Okay.
family, it's like I'm taking you serious. Ga hona gore re ka hlora.
Mm,
If we need a break from each other, then we can communicate and say, friend, I need a break from you because of one, two, three. But just let me know. It's
okay.
being in a friendship is more of like being in a relationship for me. That's how I take
Yes.
friendships.
Yes.
So it's very
Okay.
important. Friendships are important.
And then a re nke sena taba motho ha tlo re I don't have the capacity for you, hona no. Because I think that's our
No.
problem with friendships, that we start to feel like there's a level of entitlement where we just like we're friends and we I don't know. So when someone's gonna say that not right now or I can't right now, and I know I've lost a
Mm,
friend over that type of situation of being like, I don't have the capacity right now to handle what you need me to handle. I can find you help and I can find another direction, but right now I
mm,
can't do it. And it's because we are human, right? We all have our own
yes.
issues. But
Yes.
how do you guys manage being able to say that a friend not right now, or even you as a friend being able to ask, Kore, can you handle, or do you have the capacity, or no, that type of respect, and still being able to be friends after it?
Yeah, I think with us, we have understood our friendship, how it works. You know,
Okay.
if
Okay.
we can't like give you Nagohana no, then it means I can't give you Nagohana no. But at the later stage,
Okay.
am gonna like come to you and say, oh no, what for ring ka tsatsi la so we understand like our friendship to that point. Ya gore if it's a no, it's a no. If it's a yes, it's a yes. I've been in a situation where I felt like um I was drowning in a friendship. I felt like I want that person all to myself and I neglected everybody else. So I learned a lot
Mm,
from that kind of relationship. Yes, it has its own ups and downs. It had its own like literally breakdown. So at this point in time, I would say I've learned a lot from that. I've learned not to be too attached because I saw once I become too attached, then it's hard for me to basically detach myself from that friendship. It's basically
mm,
if I can't have you, then nobody would. So I try to
mm,
hold myself when I start to see, okay, I'm falling into that same trap that I was
mm.
in. So with
Okay.
a lot of my friends are just we are so understanding, honestly. We are so
Okay.
understanding.
No, that's lovely to hear. Okay, we have a question from Tawe here, ne? And it's an
Mhm.
interesting one. I'm gonna want you to answer it first, and then I'm also gonna give my opinion on it afterwards, ne?
Mhm.
Ore, how do we initiate this conversation with men, and how do we try and avoid emasculating them by suggesting therapy? So this
Mm-hmm.
conversation being therapy, how do we initiate it with guys? And then how do we try not to be emasculating by suggesting it?
Okay. Okay, one thing I can say about men always have this, I mean, daughter, me. I'll never do
Mm.
1, 2, 3, what. Like, they don't
Yes.
want to feel, they don't want to feel their emotions. They don't
Yeah.
want to feel whatever that is happening at that moment in time, you know. Because
Mm.
I myself, I like that. If I see something
Mm.
is very happy or whatsoever, I would refuse to feel it. Like, I don't want to feel
Mm.
the emotions. I don't want to feel those feelings and whatsoever. So feeling, it makes you actually break down. And breaking down,
Mm.
it's normal. You know, it's normal. But there are men who are really, really stubborn that would say they would never go to a therapy because of they feel
Mm.
like it's a sense of weakness when you go to
Mm.
therapy, or when you cry, it's a sense of weakness, which is totally
Mm.
understandable. It's only Iyakamoto gore, are they bold enough, or are they bold enough to actually admit the fact that basically I'm going through a lot, so I need
Mm.
help in 1, 2, 3. Personally, I have a partner that doesn't want therapy at all. But I always make, by all means, to always tell him, like, if you can't talk to me, then try to make means that go talk to someone else, you know. As much as
Mm.
you can be comfortable with me, but most probably you can't be comfortable with me because of certain things, because you're a
Mm.
man. Because I'm a
Mm.
woman, I wouldn't understand that. So go talk to someone else who's a man or understand the situation. Yeah, how? So yeah,
Mm.
men are stubborn, most of them. Yeah.
I hear you and I agree with you. So my take on the question would be creating an environment that allows men to do so. So my little way of trying to do that is by actually working with guys
Mm-hmm.
in different ways. I want to level
Yeah.
can you show up for something? It's about, oh, okay, whatever that I'm going to be doing, the boys are also going to be there. And there's, they're creating an environment that says we are allowed to be healthy, we're allowed to be
Yes.
helpful, we're allowed to speak, whatever, right? So with me doing power circle conversations now and in the direction, yeah, suicide prevention month, and saying that I have to add men to the conversation is one of the ways that I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to find um, guys to start talking so that we create an environment that allows men to talk, because I think we are the environment is the first place that messed up with men being able to speak. Okay, so I don't think men were born incapable of speaking. I think that the environment, it refused, it didn't allow them.
Yeah.
It's the same way that we all know what when a man goes to report rape at a police station, Balamutseya, we've always heard about something like that, which now says
Yeah.
to all the other men that ever go through the same situation that they cannot report something like that to a police station. And at the end of the day, every time, many times, when you go back to the story of the guy that is the rapist, you find that he was molested as a child, but he had nowhere to go
Mm.
because he's a boy child, you know? So before we can actually say that men are refusing to do something, I think if we worked towards trying to make the environment healthier for them. Like I was listening to an interview, never invited Jackie Pamoto. Jackie Pamoto, I'm another author of
Yes.
Bear. Yeah, so she actually mentioned there, hore, but even something as simple as men going to men's clinic is a joke. And why is it a joke? Because by follow line go clinicing day in, day out, and no one says anything about us doing it. But when men go to men's clinics to actually just improve themselves as a person, to improve
Mm.
their health, it's a joke and it's a problem. So, oh, it also goes to the person that guys usually get to date are women that don't take their emotions seriously. You know, the other time I'm at a friend's place and
Yeah.
she had another friend over, and the other friend is a guy. So in the evening, before Robalang Kaufela, this guy is on the phone with his wife. And
Mm-hmm.
he says to wife, I feel so discouraged and I feel like I'm not man enough. And she says, why? And he's like, because I'm struggling to provide for my children. Because he was waiting for payment and it hadn't stepped in, something like that. And he's like, because I'm struggling to provide for my children. So I feel like I'm not man enough. And she's like, okay. Oh, shall you sit for no more? Like, she left the situation and just went into other things, and then asked them about other things that have to do with their family. And like, she did not take into consideration the depths of this
But
guy saying, I
yes,
feel so emasculine at this moment, and I don't feel like I'm man enough because I'm struggling to provide for my family. Instead of her knowing how to deal with that, or emotionally quickly realizing what, hey, this guy is telling me something that he would not just say at any point. So she is left. But yeah, that's really what actually happened, and it hurts me to hear a conversation like that, and to realize that not a lot of women know how to deal with their partners not being okay, you know. So now I'm seeing, okay, before we can start and say that men are struggling or don't want to open up or they are the problem, are we really saying that the environment is allowing to it? Because when we're going to tell women that they need to open up more and they need to talk more and they need to find better places to, you know, all of these things, we're telling women, but we actually provided the environment for women to be comfortable enough to open up like that. So that's my take on it. Mpho, do we have you back? Okay, you're back.
yes, yes, network issues.
Oh, okay, no, not a problem, us. But yeah, I was just wrapping up what I was saying, and I think we got the gist of it, ne? We answered Tabo's question.
Is he happy?
Okay, I I don't know. He'll tell us if he's happy with the response or
Okay.
is wrong. But I have the last question because our 30 minutes is almost over, and I actually wanted to speak about a power circle, and I'm so excited that you mentioned your friendships and um how invested you are in your friendships and how your friends are invested in you as well. I'm happy you mentioned it because I actually wanted to go back into that. So how do we find a power circle? What is it that you do to make sure that you have the right people around you, that have influenced you in the direction of even starting a foundation, helping you improve in terms of your studies and everything else, going back to your mental health space?
Okay, I think one thing that has really helped me, I'm a very observant person, you know.
Okay.
I observe all the nitty gritty things, all the little things that you do. Like, if I feel like that is a red flag, then I'm not gonna accommodate you in my circle. I'm not gonna put you in my circle. People always
Okay.
say that you can't have a bigger circle of friends because of one, two, three, or whatsoever. But
Mm,
like for me, it doesn't work that way. If I feel like I'm benefiting something from you and you're benefiting
mm,
something from me, then
yeah.
we are most probably going to be friends or whatever the case may be. So I don't go along with the
Yes.
fact that when my circle is smaller, then I'm going to be successful or whatsoever. It's all about
Okay.
who I associate myself with and how that person is understanding, towards
Mm,
our or what they hear to put on the table. And yeah, basically, I'm not expecting much from a person, but if I feel like you are the right person to be in my circle, then I'm most probably gonna accommodate you. I'm most probably gonna go to that point where I basically introduce you to my friends, old friends, and say, oh, this mang mang or whatsoever. Go to that
mm-hmm,
point where I'm going to introduce you to my family because, like I said, I take friendship really seriously. Once I'm
mm,
in a friendship with someone, I always say I'm in a relationship because whatever
mm,
that within my relationship, I would basically do it in my friendship. And if the
mm.
energy is not reciprocating or if my needs are not satisfied, then I call it off. Like it's a
Okay.
no-go from area for me. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now I'm happy you mentioned that because I think that goes all the way into firstly saying that creating friendships is not a bad thing, So let's not close ourselves off from creating friendships.
Yes.
But also being observant and taking your instincts seriously, that voice that tells you a little something about the person that's around you or the energy that's around you, taking those things seriously. Because I think we end up doing one of the two, right? Many times people will either the instinct part not take that seriously and then blame everyone for being such terrible people or for turning back on them or whatever. But it's like, but you felt something when you were dealing with this person in the beginning.
Yes.
And if you took that seriously, it was going to help you. You let it happen, exactly. And then the other thing that we do before even getting to instincts is by shutting people off and refusing to make new interactions because we want to focus on my circle is small and therefore that's on that. And we are growing as people. Just sticking to one person for the rest of your life is not going to work. Like, if it works, if you guys are growing together, yes, but because you are growing as a person, then add on other people where you can add on, let go where you can let go, let it continue to be a flow. And I like that you mentioned not being attached, because that attachment is what creates an unhealthy relationship, because now we have this very unnecessary amount of entitlement onto a friendship and we don't let it flow nicely. But otherwise, Mpho, I think our 30 minutes is just about up. Thank you so much for joining me. I don't know if there's anything else that you'd like to add on just to close off Dabaya Suicide Prevention Month.
No.
Did you know about it, actually? I wanted to know. Did you know about it before I asked you to help me with it?
Nope, I didn't. Okay. There's a first time for everything. So now I know.
There's a first time for everything. The first time you find out about it, you actually even are part of it, which is even amazing. So maybe next year we can do something really nice and grand and big about it.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right, so thank you too for attending, babe. Have a very good afternoon. Eh?
Okay. Bye.
Bye.